I'm going to show you how to measure if your Sony camera or any other camera has enough voltage to run the microphones you want. So if you decide you want to use external microphones to get a little bit better sound out of your camera, it's good to know what the voltage is that outputs out of your camera. On the side of here, like with the 6700, the top plug in here is a stereo plug. So with the 6700, you can use stereo microphones to get a little better separation and a better sound than you're going to get directly out of camera. But it's also good to know exactly what sort of power that your camera can put out. Some cameras will only put out about 1.5 volts, which is barely enough to power some microphones. Others put out a little bit higher rate to make a big difference. If you use a microphone like these set of clippies, which is what they call this particular microphone, it's takes a little bit more power. They prefer to be run at about 5.5 to 9 volts, but they will run as low as 2 volts well. But you really want at least about 2.5 volts to get the best sound out of a microphone like this. So you can test it from the microphone plug to see how much voltage you're actually getting out of it. So what I'm going to do with this, show you how to test it here. You got to just make sure your camera's turned on. You need a patch cord, and if you're going to test ones that have stereo, you need a TRS cord that has 2 different rings on it like that, 2 black rings, and that'll let you know how much proper power you're getting out of it for the stereo. So just need to plug it in. This little, on the 6700, it's a red plug that lets you know that that's the microphone in. When you plug that in, have the camera turned on, you can take a multimeter, set it to around reading of 20 volts and under, where it'll show up better. Take the outer ring and the innermost gold part outside the ring and touch it to it. Camera's sleeping here. To wake it back up by touching the shutter. So just take this ring and that ring and touch it, and you can see what sort of voltage you're getting on it. So currently it's showing 2.3 volts. The center ring on it won't give you anything, but when you touch these 2 rings, you get a voltage that's showing negative because I've got the contacts backward on here. Touch it here. So this reading I'm getting is 2.35 volts. Now, the voltage can change with your battery. So if you've got a battery that's not charged very well, it can show a little bit lower rating on here. The cameras will actually, I don't know if this is purposeful or not, but as your battery goes down, the voltage of your mics can go down on here. So the more charged your battery is, sometimes the higher the voltage you'll get out of it. And it can make a difference in the battery use. So if you use a battery that's not a standard battery, not made by, like say with Sony, if it's not a Sony battery, sometimes you can get lower voltages. So this is a Watson battery. I'm going to take this out and test it and see if we get any difference on it. So turn it back off. Let me get a Sony battery to test it. Take this battery out. Hard to see here. Put a Sony battery in and we'll see if it tests any different. So I'm going to turn that back on. Check my voltage again. Pretty similar voltage between these 2. It can make a difference though. From time to time I've tested other off-brand batteries, and for some reason the voltages will be a little bit lower. Even though the battery might say it's working correctly with the camera seems to run fine. The voltages to your microphones can make a difference. So with this brand, it's a Primo capsule. inserted into a wire, and it's an omnidirectional microphone, so it picks up around you, so you have to watch what you're saying behind it. If you're talking, it'll pick it up. But it gives a wider response with this type mount on here. And you can also change the directions on them. It's sort of hard to see because I'm so close, but if you want to record someone talking halfway close, you can pitch the mics in a cross pattern, and it'll tend to get a better sound with the vocal. It'll sound closer to a mono recording with it. It works better when you're trying to record someone up close, or you can just turn it outward and get a wider pattern, and you can hear a better sound as, say, something like cars come by. You can hear them coming from the left and working to the right better. So a setup like this gives you a little more flexibility than with a regular shotgun mic that's more made just to get a direct sound right in front of you. So if you're outside wanting to get surround sounds, that sort of thing, these type of microphones work better. But if you know you're only going to be aiming at a particular sound or just want to record someone speaking, the little small shotgun mics tend to work better. But if you can get close to 2.5 volts out of it, you can use most microphones with them. Like I said, something like these prefer even a higher voltage, sort of around 5 to 9 volts. And you can boost this by putting a little battery box in between the two that'll take the voltage coming out of your camera, and it'll amplify it and run the speakers, run the microphones a little more efficiently. And you can then turn your recording levels down in your camera to where it's not quite making so much hiss out of it. So it's good to check, just to see what your camera can actually output. I've had small point and shoots, that sort of thing, that have a external mic setup with it, but they only have about 1.5 volts worth of power put out. And if you try something like that and you not getting good results with your microphones, it may be that your camera just can't produce enough voltage to run the microphones, and you usually have to get a microphone that takes a little bit less power to run more efficiently. So if that helped anybody out, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.